Arrest warrants could soon be issued for Israeli PM Benjamin Netanyahu and his defence chief, as well as 3 Hamas leaders, all accused of various war crimes and crimes against humanity. The International Criminal Court Prosecutor has requested the warrants, which are now awaiting approval by a panel of judges. Netanyahu has slammed the move as absurd and a complete distortion of reality. The US President today backing him in.
Whatever these warrants may imply, there is no equivalence between Israel and Hamas. What's happening is not genocide. We reject that. We will always stand with Israel.
Dr. Shahram is a former war crimes prosecutor and international courts expert. He's with us now. Shahram, let's just get some of the details out first. What are the allegations against the Israeli leaders?
So some of these crimes are murder as a crime against humanity, the starvation of a civilian population as a means of warfare, which is a war crime, intentionally targeting civilians or a civilian population.
Of course, there were also charges against 3 Hamas officials. What about in their case? What are those charges?
Torture as a war crime, rape as a crime against humanity, murder as a crime against humanity, and extermination. And also the murder charge is also against the Israeli defendants as well.
There's been really vociferous objection from the United States and from Israel, the main basis of which seems to be that this sets up a moral equivalence between Israel and Hamas. What do you think of that argument?
The moral equivalence argument seems to forget that there's individual actors committing individual specific crimes. And so what the prosecutor has done, the prosecutor has very clearly developed an evidentiary-based charges and has sought an arrest warrant based on reasonable belief that these crimes have occurred. History
tells us, though, that even if arrest warrants go out, people who are charged tend not to turn up to the ICC. Vladimir Putin hasn't turned up, for example. It's very unlikely any of the Israeli leadership or the Hamas leadership would turn up, especially in Israel's case, because they're not even a signatory to this. So would there be any practical effect if arrest warrants were issued?
Once the arrest warrants are issued, the International Criminal Court doesn't have an international police force or global police force of its own to enforce its arrest warrants. It requires the cooperation of states to make the arrest and to surrender the individuals to the court. And as you pointed out, Vladimir Putin was indicted and not surrendered. Al-Bashir was, arrest warrants were issued for him, and he traveled with impunity through African states without ever being arrested and surrendered to the courts. So we have definitely a concern as to whether or not these arrest warrants will actually be carried out.
It's fascinating to see what the panel of judges ultimately conclude on this. Shahram, thank you so much for your expertise tonight.
Thank you very much for your time.